we have some new CNN reporting today about what is going on behind the scenes inside the Harris campaign and more broadly among Democrats who are growing more and more anxious about a 2016 redux. CNN's Priscilla Alvarez joins me now. Priscilla, we were just joking here at the table that anxious Democrats happen on a day that ends in Y, but this is something that perhaps is warranted given the data that they're seeing. Explain your great reporting.
Yeah, look, that's exactly right, Dana. And this has been a campaign that was described by multiple Democrats, allies, aides, to the vice president as a good vibes campaign. But what's also creeping in now is that anxiety. The reason for that is because these polls are not really moving. Despite multiple battleground blitzes, despite the opportunities she has had across media outlets, there is still not a lot of movement from voters who are moving more towards her versus former President Donald Trump. In fact, I had one source describe it to me this way, quote, "People are nervous. They know the polls are tight. And a lot of us are having these flashbacks to 2016, too. We know when it can go the wrong way and it can still feel fresh." So 2016 is the key here. When I've talked to Harris campaign officials, it often comes up in conversation. Where did Hillary Clinton have her pitfalls? And where can they make up that ground and build on what Joe Biden did in 2020? One of those, to give you an example, is those red and rural districts. Look at, for example, Cambria County in Pennsylvania. Now, former President Donald Trump won in that county, but the former President Biden was able to gain some ground there, more than Hillary Clinton had in 2016. The vice president has already visited twice. And so that is the type of strategy that they're trying to deploy to try to make up that ground where they saw Hillary Clinton wasn't able to in 2016. Then, too, there's the mobilizing. Talk to Democrats. They're always pretty boastful about their ground game, and they continue to be so, but that needs to turn into votes. So certainly some anxiety and nerves setting in as Election Day gets closer and those polls are just remain deadlocked.
Really important reporting.
Y'all sound scared.
Nah.
Y'all sound scared.
She's not making her case any better with this.
FEMA has what they need right now.
Okay.
Whoa.
I want to talk a little bit more about what both you and
Didn't they
President
just
Biden
say
they didn't have
talked
it,
about in this briefing, and each of you has talked about many times over the past few days, which is this dangerous misinformation that is coming from a lot of corners, including your opponent in the race for the White House. Several local Republican leaders have been pleading with them to stop. Have you spoken to GOP officials in Florida to figure out how to help combat that right now as it's about to get a whole lot worse?
Well, I'll tell you, I have spoken with local officials who have been struck, for example, by Hurricane Helene, and they are doing an extraordinary job in trying to combat the misinformation. And I'm talking about sheriffs, I'm talking about mayors, I'm talking about local officials. I don't even know their party affiliation, by the way, but leaders on the ground who know that it is not in the best interest of the people living in those areas to not know their rights, not to know what they're entitled to, and to be afraid of seeking help. It is dangerous. It is unconscionable, frankly, that anyone who would consider themselves a leader would mislead desperate people to the point that those desperate people would not receive the aid to which they are entitled. And that's why I call it dangerous. And we all know it's dangerous. And the gamesmanship has to stop. At some point, the politics have to end, especially in a moment of crisis and the crises that we've been seeing.
Hurricane Kamala.
We have been fact-checking. In fact, just before you came on, we did so. My colleague Brianna Keeler, along with Daniel Dale and Priscilla Alvarez, are doing that, and we're continuing to do it. One of my sort of follow-up questions to that is about, we know what Republicans, many Republicans are saying that is just not true. One of the things that came out of the fire in Hawaii last year was that a lot of the misinformation was reportedly being stirred by foreign adversaries. Do you have any indication that that is happening
Citizen
right
saying
now?
it.
I do not. No, I do not.
The Russian
But
spy beanie.
whatever the source, Dana, just so we're clear, it hurts the American people. And it's got to stop.
Madam Vice President, before I let you go, I do have to ask you about another phone call that I believe you participated in earlier today with President Biden, and that is with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Did he talk at all about what his plans are to retaliate against Iran after its ballistic missile attack against Israel last week?
Well, I'll tell you, it was a classified call, and I don't have any announcements to make about what happened during that call, and I just can't get into private diplomatic conversations on this.
Yeah, that does sound like a
I got
leader.
two things. She was saying that Trump was basically using the storm to, politicking these things and, that he should be helping. But it's like, you're the sitting vice president and you're also on CNN right now, politicking and on all these podcasts.
Yeah.
So you're doing all these things that you're saying he's doing. You're doing the same thing. And you're in office, he's not in office. So technically his job right now is not to do that.
People were saying that this clip proves that he actually hates Kamala.
Mr. President, does Governor DeSantis need to take Vice President Harris's calls?
All I can tell you is I'm talking to Governor DeSantis. He's been very gracious. He's thanked me for all we've done. He knows what we're doing.
Sound like he's shaking back.
I think that's important.
Sound like
He's not shaking back.
I told you. She tried to
Look,
say
he
she
said,
tried
"I'm
to
back."
call him.
Look at
Could
his
he just
face,
say he's
bro.
back? Could he do that?
What?
He's
Hell
just
no.
Joseph.
I mean, could he do it? Kamala
Well, why
did
couldn't
it.
he? Exactly.
Nobody got voted.
He already
No one got voted. If he got voted, she didn't. He would have more right than she would.
He already pulled his name from the race, though.
Stop putting it back in there.
He said it. Said, I'm back in. Look at his face like Barnacle Boy for
might
real,
win.
man. Oh, man. The Barnacle Boy shit is
That
crazy,
shit is
bro.
hilarious.
That's crazy because they asked about vice president, and he just said, nah, man. I mean, hey, man, Ron know what I'm trying to do. I don't know what VP trying to do. He never really, I ain't gonna lie, he never props her up at all.
I don't think they're on the same page.
No, he never props her up.
He did
at
at
all.
first. He did at first.
Hey, Trump kind of exposed
And then at the DNC. But since the DNC, I don't think he's propped her
Ever
up
since
much.
we seen the Trump hat, he been calling her out on the bullshit.
I agree.
FEMA is not leading this show. We are leading this show here in the state of Florida. We're marshaling whatever assets are available to us. We're leveraging that. But I can tell you in Florida, we are leading this train. We're marshaling all available resources, federal, state, and we're supporting local. And that's the way it's going to be. So you can have confidence in that. Yes, sir.
Man, what I got from that, he is really quarterbacking the situation. He's fully in control, and he is taking it upon himself to make sure the people of Florida are okay.
He said, FEMA.
No Diddy. But that looked kind of strong to me.
That's not Diddy.
That's what a strong leader looks like. He was concise. He shut down all the BS. He got to the point. He didn't talk around.
If you
and
would
he
have
said,
just
we
said
handling
it
this.
and I said no Diddy, I feel like it would have made it less Diddy.
It sounded Diddy just say he sounds stronger.
Nah,
just
bro,
saying
nah.
another man
Either way,
stronger.
though, Kamala
looked like a
versus
strong
Ron,
leader.
that was a big difference. Big difference.
My job is to manage this process and lead the state through this. I am using every lever at my disposal, including federal government resources. I've marshaled all the agencies in the state government, and we're working like never before to supplement our local communities. I've got to get the job done, and that's what I'm focused on. Now, people have asked me about, is FEMA going to do this? Just let me be clear, in Florida, we run the show. FEMA's not running the show. We will utilize them to support some of the things we're doing, but you are not going to see FEMA running amok in Florida. I know that's been out there on the internet. That is not going to happen. I'm the sheriff that's in charge here, and we will make sure to protect you. Don't worry about it.
That's what a real leader looked like.
Hey,
that was fire.
Y'all said Ron don't got nothing for JD? Y'all tripping. I feel like that'd be a great debate.
I ain't gonna be good.
That'd be a great debate to
So we got a
watch.
lot of hitters on the right. Bro.
With Vivek on the stage?
I saw somebody. I saw somebody say that.
That's a big
I saw somebody say that the reason guy had a plan for DeSantis, it was better that he stayed governor of Florida rather than give up his seat and run for president.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, I couldn't think of a
I
better
was
leader.
just now
He lost.
processing that too as I was
the-
watching that, and it was funny because y'all was thinking the same thing about how he seems like he looks like he looks like a president.
Yeah, he can do it. Nah, he was over with, though. As soon as Trump
He,
called him DeSanctimonious, it was done.
Well, he wasn't gonna beat Trump regardless.
Yeah, I know.
So it was better for him to go back,
DeSanctimonious.
run Florida, and then next time you try again.
Is he then okay with moving disaster relief funds for dealing with migrants, but now is not? Is that what you're saying?
What President Trump didn't do is allow an open border policy for 4 years, allowing nearly 20 million illegal people into the country, stressing our public infrastructure in cities across the country, using taxpayer dollars to fund illegals and put them in luxury hotels like we've seen in New York City, to give them prepaid debit cards to buy clothing and food when the American people are suffering from the
It's
worst
okay for
inflation
Donald Trump
crisis
to do
in a
it. It is not
generation.
okay for
They are now
the Biden administration to do it. Caroline,
Why
so
is it not-
Donald Trump did that. Donald
Why
Trump
should
did
I
that in
acknowledge the
2019, his
differences?
administration.
Did he give up $650 million to illegals?
President Trump did not allow an invasion of illegal immigrants into our country again and use billions of dollars to fund
Facts.
them in housing, to put them
Facts.
into luxury hotels. What he did do is use federal funding to deport them back to their home countries, which is
Facts.
something that Kamala Harris is refusing to do. And she has still yet to answer the question that if she is elected president in 28 days, what is she going to do with the 20 million
28
illegal
days,
people
wow.
that she has allowed into this country, including the convicted criminals? We know there's 425,000 convicted criminal illegal aliens in this country today. Kamala has yet to say whether or not she will deport them or keep them here and continue to use federal funding to house them and to give that, subsidize their lifestyle on the taxpayers' dime. President Trump won't tolerate that. He's going to launch the largest mass deportation operation in American history, and he will ensure that American
my
citizens
taxpayer
are being put
dollars go to
first
that.
by their federal government, that their tax dollars are going to them in times of need. And this is not the first time we've seen the White House and the Biden-Harris administration botch a crisis. We saw it in Afghanistan. They left Americans behind there. We saw it in
She's
East Palestine,
grilling.
Ohio, where Kamala Harris never visited and Joe Biden took months
Okay.
to actually go to tour the
He said,
deportation
okay.
from the train derailment. We saw it in Maui, Hawaii, where residents are still saying the federal government was not there to help them. This situation is no different, and we will take the word of residents in North Carolina and Florida and Georgia who have been left behind over the word of this administration, which has repeatedly been caught in lies.
Also, the word of a Republican member of Congress who says that these rumors that Donald Trump has been pushing, in part, the things he's been saying is not true. You say that you haven't heard Kamala Harris answer a question. I'm just going to leave it here. But I'm not hearing you answer the question of why it was okay for the Trump administration to use disaster relief funds in order to deal with migrants in 2019, and it is now completely not okay and something he's hitting the administration on now. We're going to leave it there because I offered you 3 times to give me the answer, and I'm not getting it.
She's a clown. She's a clown.
Listen to what she said
is
at
a
the
clown.
end.
She looks
Listen
like
to
a
what
who
she
is
said.
a clown.
Listen to what she said.
Migrants in 2019, and it is now completely not okay and something he's hitting the administration on now. We're going to leave it there because I offered you 3 times to give me the answer, and I'm not getting it.
She is a freaking clown. She answered the question.
like her.
She said President Trump used that same FEMA money to deport the illegals rather than subsidize their lifestyle and spend billions of dollars to let them allow them to stay here. And President Trump won't allow that to happen, to continue. And he didn't have 20 million illegals invade our country and then use government money to subsidize them. That's the difference. That's the difference right there. Don't sit here and play dumb. We all heard it.
Trump deports, Kamala rewards.
No, Trump deports, Kamala supports.
There it is right there.
That's a
Wow.
good slogan.
Make y'all a sign.